Hey friend, Steve here. Most people believe these 6 financial myths and it keeps them broke. Over the last decade, I've worked with hundreds of clients. I've gotten to review some of their tax returns, and I've been able to decode the real strategies that work. And almost everything you've been told about growing your wealth is wrong. So if you're trying to build wealth the smart way, here are the 6 financial myths keeping you broke and what to do instead. First, myth number 1, more money will make you happy and less stressed. This is something I talk about with some close friends of mine. I remember someone who was very content with their situation in life, and they had about $30,000 in savings. They got into a business and started to make a ton of money, and that savings buffer grew to about $500,000. But they were stressed out of their mind. They were always worried about losing money and thinking about what happens if my balance goes down. I'm going to have to work really, really hard to try and get it back up to $500,000 again. You know, I find this interesting because I see people who don't have very much money, but they're very content and happy with where they're at in life. But then I see often those same people start to earn a lot of money. They have more stuff, but they're not happy. I just see them stressed out, and sometimes it looks like they're miserable. I used to stress a lot about money, but something did help me overcome this. Here's what helped. It wasn't more money. It's actually based on a Bible principle found in Acts chapter 20, verse 35. And the principle talks about how there is more joy in giving than there is in receiving. When was the last time you saw someone in need and you helped them? How did that person feel after you helped them? How did you feel after you helped them? You both probably felt great. Speaking personally, when I've gone through some of my most stressful times in life, when I reflect on them, what has brought me the most joy and happiness is focusing on helping others instead of focusing on how bad my current problem that I'm dealing with is. And then from a long-term perspective, I've also noticed that it improves my quality of life. And the thing is, when you think about giving to others, it doesn't have to be money. I remember when I was broke when I started out in this business, I still spent as much time as I could helping friends and getting involved in volunteer work because it made me happy. So if you're stressed out about money, try focusing on helping others. I know for me in business, there have been times where we solely focus on helping someone, and sometimes we provide a service absolutely for free. Maybe it's advice, or maybe it's our consulting business, but we're not charging the individual. I feel great when I see someone appreciative of the help and we're able to help them, but what always happens is the money always comes back. I found whenever I've helped someone, or to put it this way, when someone's helped me and they didn't charge me anything, I do feel like I want to help that person or give back in some way, shape, or form in the future more than what they gave me. So giving to others, while it might not produce any monetary results from a business standpoint right now, I do think that it will come back to help you, whether it's monetary or if it's just from a reputational standpoint. Okay, myth number 2, debt is good. There's another scripture, this one's in Proverbs, that I like a lot. I've referenced this one for more than 10 years, and it has helped me so much in business and in my personal life. It's a short and to-the-point scripture. It says that the rich one rules the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. I hear about people leveraging debt to increase their net worth all the time. And frankly, some people are very, very good at this. And I feel like I know this because they broadcast it on social media all the time. But here's the thing. Do you know how many people have tried to emulate wealthy real estate investors or business owners who have leveraged debt, but then they end up losing money? A ton. How much stress and personal embarrassment comes from that? If you try to copy someone, leverage a bunch of debt, but then you go broke, oh my goodness, it's going to be embarrassing and not fun at all. So debt is a tool, and it can be an effective one, but it does require discipline and management. For example, let's pretend you're looking to buy an investment property and it costs $500,000. The property is projected to cash flow $5,000 per month. Sounds like a good deal. You don't have $500,000 to buy the property, so you go to a bank and get a loan. That loan costs you $3,000 per month. Can you pay that? You say yes. The property is going to cash flow $5,000 per month. The loan costs $3,000 per month, which means I will have a net profit of $2,000 per month. Sounds great. Let's do it. Turns out the analysis was wrong, and the most that you're going to get from this investment property is $3,500 per month, but that's before the cost of the loan, which was $3,000 per month. The analysis was wrong because you didn't do all of the research. You really just listened to someone who has a similar property in the area that said, yeah, I'm cash flowing $5,000 per month. This thing's absolutely fantastic. They weren't giving you all of the details. Your cash flow might be positive initially, but then you've got rising taxes, maintenance, tenant issues, complaints, and all of these other things that drive you nuts. And you say, I'm doing all this for $500 per month, or maybe even zero some months with the added expenses. Would you have still made that purchase and tied yourself to this loan with a bank if you would have known all of that? Probably not. So I'm not saying that debt is evil and we should avoid it altogether. No, I've used it at times in my life, but I would evaluate your risk tolerance, goals, and see what things look like in your personal situation. Then I'd look at the worst case scenario in order to set expectations right and really make sure that you're comfortable with the worst case scenario. And I would do all of this before just blindly following use other people's money advice from the internet. I think that's where people frequently go wrong. Okay, myth number 3, getting rich is easy. I remember when I was 22 years old, I got into the life insurance business. I interviewed at this company, and I remember the sales manager walks in, presents to me. It was actually a room full of recruits, and I thought that me getting into this business was going to result in a ton of money. Here's what the pitch sounded like. He said, Steve, folks, at this company, the average income of sales agents is $60,000 per year. So if you just do the average, not any better, again, just the average, you should make about $60,000. You also have what are called renewals. If you sell $60,000 in 1 year, what that means is the second year, before you do anything, your renewals are guaranteed to be $6,000 per year. So if the second year you have your renewals of $6,000 and in new sales, you do the exact same thing, $60,000. This means you're going to have what? $66,000 in year 2. And if you just continue this year over year and don't improve your skills or make anything more than $60,000 every year, by the 10th year, you're going to have $60K in renewals plus $60K in new sales, which gives you a grand total of $120,000 per year. So I'm 22 years old. I'm like, sounds easy. Yeah, let's do it. Come to find out, it was not that easy by any means. I actually made a total of $5,500 my first year in the business, not anywhere close to $60,000. That was my story getting into the life insurance business. But the thing is, I've seen this happen in life insurance, but also in other sales jobs, multi-level marketing companies, these courses that are advertised as buy my course, follow my system, and make millions of dollars, and other passive income pitches. The thing that I've learned is that there's really no easy way to get rich. You can develop skills, which will make it easier because you'll know how to produce money, but it's still going to take work. This has been my personal experience. Even if you look at real estate and all of these things that advertise it as passive income, yes, after you've been in that game for a long time and you know how to play it, it can be passive, but man, I feel that there are going to be headaches along the way. I had a tenant in a unit who kept calling the police on their partner. They were arguing and having problems, which everyone goes through. Like, I totally get that. But the thing that kind of annoyed me is because they were calling the police, and I was the landlord, I had to keep on getting involved. The point is, it wasn't worth the time and stress that it produced, the passive income. And in that case, it's really not passive. Everyone I know who has gotten rich has worked extremely hard. They put the time in, usually for several years, and didn't make very much money during that time period. But then eventually, as they honed in on their skills, they learned the game that they were playing. They finally started to make money. I've seen this with every client who owns their own business and that's in sales. I've seen this pattern to be so constant over the years. So if you're ever being pitched on something that looks like easy money, I'd ask for proof. Simple as that. Okay, myth number 4, the wealthy don't pay taxes. Wrong. I usually hear this from people online, but personally, I have not seen much actual proof around this claim. When I look at clients of mine who have net worths of 50 million, 100 million, and even more, they pay a lot in taxes. They also have some of the best tax attorneys and CPAs in the world on their side that are helping them minimize their tax liability now and in the future. I remember talking to a business owner a couple of years ago, and his income was between 35 million and $40 million for that year. I'm talking to him on the phone. He said, yeah, I had to write a check to the IRS for $18 million last year. Now, I also saw his tax return, so I know that he was not lying. And I also know who his tax attorney is because I have the same one, and she is one of the best in the world. She works with billionaires. She knows the game of taxes. What I would do is expect that if you make a lot of money, you are probably going to have to pay a lot of taxes. I always hear about Warren Buffett and Elon Musk working things out so they don't pay anything in taxes. Yeah, maybe there's some truth to that during some years. I don't know, because I have not had a chance to speak with them or their tax professionals that can actually show me the proof. But I would guess that at some point in their life, and probably even right now, they've paid a lot in taxes, especially as they built their businesses and their income increased. They were probably paying a lot of taxes. If you believe that the wealthy don't pay taxes, you might think that the game is rigged or that you can't win. If you have a chance though, here's what I would do. Talk to someone who has done well financially and ask if they're aware of any strategies that has allowed them to make hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions upon millions of dollars and pay a minimal tax rate. And then I would ask, have you been able to do that for a long period of time? I want to see it over a consistent period of time. Then I might start to believe that. Okay, myth number 5. This is a good one. Starting a business is easy. The first 3 years of business, I made next to nothing. I was broke. At one point, I remember typing out a text message to a friend of mine who had owned a company, and the text message was me asking him for work. I didn't hit send though, and I'm glad that I didn't send that text message, because if I did, I wouldn't have the company that I have today. There's no way I would have been able to do both. Speaking personally, starting a business is one of the hardest things that I've ever done, and there is always ongoing pain that comes with it. There are a lot of rewards, but I would not say that it's easy. Even when I look at Elon Musk, everybody knows who he is, and he's one of the most successful businessmen in the world of all time. He has a quote about starting a business. The quote goes like this: starting a business is like staring into the abyss and eating glass. How does that make you feel? Not that comfortable, does it? That should tell anyone everything they need to know about the pain that comes with starting a business. So, if you're thinking about starting a business, here's what I would do. 1, set realistic expectations for yourself. 2, if you have a goal of making $10 million by 2030, for example, if it doesn't happen by then, don't give up. If you lose money during your journey and you have to let people go and you fail multiple times, don't give up. When you give up is when you fail. All of this stuff is going to happen. It's called life in the world we live in today. But if you're running a business, the one piece of advice I would give is just not to give up. You'll go through painful times. It's gonna happen. Keep working to get through them, and eventually you will break through. What I would not do is fall for the hype that everything is going to be easy and you'll be an overnight success. That is so rare, and I don't think it really happens that much today. Finally, myth number 6, you'll spend less money in retirement than you do while you're working. Now, I hear this a lot because it's my industry. When we're working, we might earn, call it $100,000 per year of income. We have expenses like our mortgage, kids, and other costs. Let's pretend you make $100,000 per year and the cost of your mortgage and kids is $35,000 per year. That means you're living on $65,000 per year. So when you retire and the mortgage is paid off and the kids are out of the house, you might say, I just need $65,000 per year to live. Here's the problem with that a lot of people run into. Inflation. Everything always goes up and costs more. Taxes. They also seem to go up over time. 3, our lifestyle. If you're retired and not going to work every day, are you going to want to just sit at home every single day and do yard work and maintain the home? Probably not. You're going to want to go out and have fun. You get bored if you just stay at home. I know I would. Why I say that is today, when do you spend more money? When you're at home or when you go out and play? When you go out. This happens to so many people during retirement. They go out more, and then naturally they find themselves spending more. I think the important thing to do here is approach retirement with the mindset that I'm going to need more money than what I think I'll need today. What I would do is lay it out on paper and just do a little bit of planning. It is way better to plan to need more money and be wrong as opposed to planning to need less money and needing more. That's where things get stressful. The less stress, the better. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I included another video you can watch here.